at least for a while. She's taken a desk at the local paper. Says Great Slaughter has more stories in its cobblestones than London has in its skyscrapers. And she says she might have a story worth finishing here. With me. I'm glad, Boniface whispered. Every story needs an author, Sam. And every heart needs a home. Chapter 6. A New Covenant. The formal opening of the Sister Helena house was a far cry from the grand, cold unveiling of the Sedgwick Towers. There were no glass and steel models, only a simple wooden door painted a welcoming shade of blue. Ronnie Palliser had surprisingly remained involved, though in a much humbler capacity. Under the stern but fair guidance of Reverend Mother Adrian, he had redesigned the project to restore the old manor outbuildings into safe, comfortable apartments for women in need. He had learned that there was more profit in a clear conscience than in a skyscraper. As the sun began to set on the day of the dedication, the townspeople gathered in the courtyard. There was laughter, the sound of Miss Thimble's choir this time perfectly in tune, a sense that the quincentennial was truly beginning, not ending. Sister Boniface stood in her lab, looking at a small, framed photograph on her desk. It was Sister Helena, young and vibrant, standing in the ruins of a shovel in one hand and a smile that could light up a tomb in the other. We didn't miss it, Helena Boniface whispered to the empty room. The foundations are still strong. Reverend Mother Adrian entered, holding 2 cups of tea. She handed one to Boniface and stood beside her at the window. The Lord truly does work in mysterious ways, Sister, the mother said, her voice rich with contentment. He took a tragedy and turned it into a testament of our resilience. He saved St. Vincent's by letting us almost lose it. And he reminded us, Boniface added, that, while stone can be carved and land can be sold, the spirit of this place is not in the deeds or the plaques. It is in the hands that reach out to the broken. Outside, the first star of the evening appeared over the hills. Great Slaughter was quiet, safe, and for the first time in 500 years, its future felt as certain as its past. The bells of St. Vincent's began to toll a deep, resonant sound that echoed through the valley, telling anyone who would listen that the story of Great Slaughter was only just beginning. The stone heart of the convent was beating once more, steady and true. Chapter 7. The Shadows of Winter. Winter descended upon Great Slaughter, with a biting northern wind that rattled the ancient windows of St. Vincent. But inside the newly minted Sister Helena house, the atmosphere was anything but cold. The first residents had arrived women who had fled broken homes, war-torn lands, or the crushing weight of poverty. Among them was Elena, a young woman from a small village in Eastern Europe, whose eyes carried a haunted look that even the warmest soup couldn't fully banish. She sat in the communal kitchen, her fingers tracing the grain of the heavy oak table. "It is too quiet," she whispered to Sister Peter, who was busy stirring a massive pot of vegetable stew. "In my home, quiet meant the soldiers were coming." "Here, dear Sister Peter said, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Quiet means the angels are watching, and if they aren't, I've got a very loud whistle and a direct line to the police station." The presence of the residents had brought a new rhythm to the convent. Sister Boniface's laboratory now doubled as a classroom where she taught basic chem, as she called it, the magic of making soap and sanity. One afternoon, as the snow began to dust the gargoyles on the roof, Sam Gillespie arrived. He looked more relaxed than Boniface had seen him in years. He wasn't wearing his inspector's scowl. Instead, he carried a box of old records he'd found in his attic. "Ruth thought the ladies might like some music," Sam said, looking around the bustling kitchen. "She's at the paper, writing a feature on the house's first month. She calls it The House That Faith Built." "And how is the author?" Boniface asked, her eyes twinkling behind her goggles. Sam's expression softened, a genuine warmth flooding his features. She's wonderful, Sister. We had dinner at the Stag and Hound last night. No talk of crime, no talk of scandals. Just us." But the piece was short. A sharp scream rang out from the north cloister. Boniface and Sam were out the door in a heartbeat, their instincts taking over. They found Elena standing by a half-open stone niche, her face as white as the snow outside. Inside the niche, hidden behind a loose stone, was a small, rusted iron box. It wasn't the contents that had frightened her, but the symbol carved into the lid, a weeping eye, the mark of a secret society that had supposedly been disbanded during the Great War. "What is it, Sister?" Sam asked, his hand instinctively reaching for his notebook. "It's a legacy," Sam Boniface whispered, carefully lifting the box. A legacy that Sister Helena must have been searching for, the Eye of Providence. It seems St. Vinstance hasn't given up all its secrets just yet. Chapter 8. The Unspoken Promise. The discovery of the iron box sent a ripple through the community. Inside were letters not of land deeds or legal threats, but of a hidden treasure. Not gold or jewels, but a collection of ancient botanical seeds, preserved in wax and silk. They were the heirloom of the apostles, a strain of medicinal herbs thought lost to time, capable of curing ailments that modern medicine still struggled with. This is what Helena was truly looking for. Boniface realized as she examined the seeds under her microscope. The deed was a secondary shield. This is the real heart of the stone. As the mystery of the seeds unfolded, the personal lives of those in Great Slaughter began to bloom as well. Ruth Penny sat in the garden, despite the chill, her notebook forgotten on her lap. Sam joined her, 2 mugs of steaming cocoa in his hands. "You're thinking again, Penny," Sam said, handing her a mug. "I can hear the gears turning from here." "I'm thinking about the seeds, Sam," Ruth said, her gaze fixed on the setting sun. "How something so small can survive for centuries just waiting for the right moment to grow. It's like people, isn't it? We spend so much time under the frost, waiting for someone to find us." Sam sat down beside her, the space between them suddenly charged with a quiet intensity. "I found you, Ruth. Or rather, you came back to find me. I'm not letting you go back to the frost again." Ruth looked at him, the sharp, cynical journalist replaced by a woman who was finally, truly home. "I'm not going anywhere, Sam. London is just noise. This is music." He reached out, his hand covering hers. "I was thinking, the garden will need a lot of work in the spring, especially if Boniface starts planting these apostle seeds. I could use a hand, a permanent one." Ruth smiled, a tear escaping the corner of her eye. "Are you asking me to help with the gardening, Inspector? Or are you asking me something else?" "I'm asking you to stay," Sam said, his voice a low, steady anchor. "Forever." Chapter 9. The Wedding at St. Vin. Spring arrived in Great Slaughter with a riot of color. The apostle seeds had been planted in a secret corner of the garden, and already, tiny green shoots were pushing through the earth, a testament to Sister Helena's faith. But the real celebration was taking place in the main chapel. The bells were pealing, but this time they weren't tolling for the past. They were ringing for the future. Ruth Penny stood at the entrance of the chapel, her dress a simple, elegant cream silk that caught the morning light. She held a bouquet of lavender and wild lilies, the scent filling the air. Sam was waiting by the altar, his uniform crisp and his face radiant. Beside him, Felix looked like a proud brother, and Sister Boniface was adjusting her habit, her eyes already brimming with tears of joy. The Reverend Mother Adrian presided over the ceremony, her voice steady and warm. "Two hearts that were lost to the wind, now anchored by the stone of this house. Let this be a new covenant, not of gold and steel, but of love and service." As they exchanged rings, the silence of the chapel was filled with the soft, collective sigh of the town. Even Lynn Goodwin was there, sitting in the back pew, her face soft for the first time in years. Matthew Sedgwick's letter from prison had been read that morning, a sincere apology that seemed to lift a weight from everyone's shoulders. Chapter 10. The Harvest of Whispers. The apostle seeds grew with a vigor that defied botanical logic. Within months, the hidden garden was a lush tapestry of vibrant indigo flowers and silvery leaves that smelled of ozone and crushed honey. Sister Boniface spent her days documenting their properties, her laboratory filled with a low hum of centrifuges and the bubbling of retorts. "It's not just an antibiotic," she whispered to Peggy one Tuesday evening. "It's a cellular region." Helena didn't find a garden. She found a pharmacy of the gods. But secrets this potent have a way of leaking through the thickest stone walls. One morning, a sleek black car pulled into the convent courtyard. Out stepped a man in a tailored charcoal suit, his presence as sharp and cold as a surgeon's scalpel. He introduced himself as Dr. Victor Sterling, the head of research and development at Apex Pharmaceuticals. "We've heard rumors of a botanical miracle," Sterling said, his eyes scanning the cloisters with predatory interest. "Apex is prepared to offer the diocese a sum that would make the Sedgwick development look like pocket change. We want the seeds, the research, and the exclusive rights to the heirloom." Reverend Mother Adrian sipped her tea, her expression unreal. "The heirloom is not for sale, Dr. Sterling. It is a gift for the broken. managed by those who